Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast, the podcast where two ladies play games, shout profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome back to the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jenn.
My name is Emily, and welcome back, guys. We are... Fuck it, we're here again.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Jen, what have you been up to this last week? I feel like it's been no time since you and I talked last, but is there anything that you want to share with the listeners? Why do you look so concerned? What are you looking at?
There's a really giant spider right outside of my window.
Oh, girl, it's outside.
It's staring me directly in the face. It's so ugly and creepy, and it has a really big butt. I hate them.
Can you even see its eyes? They're so small.
It's so creepy. I hate I hate this. Can you see it?
Dude, that's barely outside. First of all, yes, it is huge. But it's also barely outside your window. That's on your gate.
Which is literally right outside my window.
That's a problem for I don't know, you don't have a gardener, do you? Or something at your condo board? People who whack weeds and do other things? That's their problem.
I don't like it. Anyways, nothing's new. I'm just over here, scared for my fucking life to go outside because there's so many goddamn bugs now.
Right?
God.
'Tis the season. But I don't want to talk about the weather for the 9th millionth time on the podcast. Just FYI, guys, it is warm here now. Too warm, one might argue, but that's fine.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like my week's more or less been the same as yours recently. It's mostly just been a lot of work. But I will say I did something kind of interesting recently using ChatGPT.
What's that?
So, it can't analyze your voice, because I was curious about how my voice sounds to other people, just since we do the podcast and everything. That feels like a good thing to know. So
Right.
I was working with it, and I was like, well, can I physically speak to it and have it evaluate my voice and tell me stuff about it, what's my pitch, what's my tone, blah blah blah. It can't do that, but what you can do is use a voice analyzer, an app or whatever, and have it give you numbers on your pitch, your tone, your decibel that you speak at, other random things, and then it will give you an analysis sheet. So what I did is I did that, ran the analysis sheet through ChatGPT, and I just got one thing to ask you, Jen.
Okay.
Why did you not tell me that apparently I have a super androgynous voice?
You do?
Allegedly. So this is what I mean.
Don't trust the computer. Okay.
Well, what I did... No. See, this is what I did, though. I used a few analysis where it's me talking in conversation, me just talking to myself, blah, blah, blah. And for the most part, I read as feminine, but it does say that depending on how I speak or my diction, that... Okay, Jen, it's not gonna come at you. It is literally miles away from your face.
It's so creepy.
It's not even on the other side of the window. It's nowhere near you. It's not even in your house.
It's near my house, and that's enough.
You know what? If you don't look at it, it'll probably go away. It's got bugs to eat. It doesn't care about you.
Anyways, continue.
Anyways, and apparently the one consistency that the AI kept popping up is that where my voice registers, depending on literally how I'm speaking to somebody, very easily fluctuates between a masculine tone and a feminine tone. So it's this is something people would really love if they are it kept using voice typecasting. If somebody was to voice typecast you, they would really love you for androgynous facing characters. And I was like, how do I not know that? I feel like the one conversation I've had with people about my voice in life is just that I do have a lower female voice. I do know that.
Yeah.
I have never heard about it being androgynous. So I was going to ask you on what you thought about that, because I thought that was super weird.
I don't know that I would agree with that necessarily. You do have a lower register. I think I do too. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it's hard because I've heard you talk for so long.
You also knew me when I was literally a baby. So then you're of course, Emily, you sound like a girl because you always have. But this is now I'm talking to people in public, and I'm like, if I did not look the way that I look, would you think you're talking to a man? Like, now I'm like, am
I don't
being
think
crazy?
so.
Right?
I don't think
But
so.
I don't
I
know,
think-
listeners. If you felt like I was a man at some point, please let me know.
What do you think? How does my voice sound to you, in your opinion?
Oh, you are feminine. Even though you do speak with a lower female voice, like, you have never not sounded female to me. Or feminine, or like womanly, or however you want to categorize that.
What if I was like, "Hey, baby, you want to get some dinner tonight?"
I'd be like, who's got this voice modulator, and why are they trying to kidnap me?
Oh my god. I don't know.
I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I don't intentionally speak with a super low voice, though. But now I'm like, oh, maybe if I did, like, maybe that would sound more androgynous. I'm not totally sure. But I would
Let's
like to
hear
know,
it.
because I feel like, what, me talking with a low voice?
Yeah.
Hey, baby, how's it going? You know, like,
No.
weird.
I don't hear it
know.
at all. I hear
Me
0% male.
So I'm choosing to believe that the AI's on crack for my own
Yeah.
mental health.
Don't trust the computer.
But I just thought it was so funny. I was like, what a weird thing to say. I would love
I'm
to hear
offended?
more on that. Yeah, like, what? But anyways, we could go on and talk about that forever. But I have a story to tell you today. So are you ready for
Okay.
us to get into our wheel of questions?
Yes, I am so ready. Spin away.
What, in your opinion, would be the best place to haunt?
Somewhere really cool, like an old castle, you know? Because I run warm, so I feel like an old castle would be like nice and drafty, and I feel like I would appreciate that as in the afterlife, you know?
I can see that. I can see
Or
that.
somewhere with AC. Like a
yes,
movie theater in the
I
summer, you know?
That would be good. I feel like for me, I was kind of between either somewhere historical, because I feel like you'd meet other interesting ghosts if you haunted somewhere historical, or some place that has a lot of interesting people that you can kind of like people watch or like play tricks on all the time. I think that would be really fun too.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Right?
I don't
You
know.
gotta let
I
that
feel
spider
like-
go.
He's so creepy. But I feel like if you gotta haunt somewhere cool because you're gonna be there forever, you know. So you don't want to be in
But that
like
also ties into,
a
like, your
Walmart.
ghost outfit and stuff, and we can't possibly get into that can of worms.
Oh, that's a whole other can of worms.
A whole other can of worms. But let's spin for our next question. What kind of ghostly legacy would you want to leave behind?
Like as a ghost or as a person who became a ghost, like, you know, like is in like an origin story of how I became a ghost, or like what my like thing is as a ghost.
I feel like, I guess you could pick either, but for me answering this question, I was thinking more like in your afterlife. You know how like ghost adventures or like these ghost hunting teams will go places and they'll be like, yeah, there's like a girl who's known for knocking on the walls. Like, would you want to have like a bit as a ghost, or like what would you want like your afterlife to be like? Your like title, I guess. Your aura, your vibe.
Okay, I've got a good one. So imagine I am haunting a historical, cool, old castle that has central AC. So every time someone tries to go to bed at 3 a.m, I'm going to sing this note next to their ear hole. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And wake them up.
Why? Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Isn't that the outro for Hannah Montana?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh my god, they're gonna be like the Hannah Montana ghost in this castle. That's very you, though. I won't lie. That is very you. I can see that, actually.
I think that'd be great. Because then, you know, if someone was staying multiple nights, they'd be like, fucking, please, let me sleep. I don't want to be woken up to Hannah Montana for the 4th night in a row.
Yeah,
No matter what room they were in.
They're like, this is hell. No, it's Hannah Montana.
Exactly. What would your thing be?
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I would need to be entertained. Like in an afterlife, if I'm still here as a ghost, like my entertainment is very important. So I feel like, but most of the things that ghosts do aren't that funny, right? Like I would want to be able to do like a funny thing as a ghost, like turning the TV on and off, not that funny. Appearing over somebody's head while they're sleeping, not that funny. So I would want to be a ghost that haunts somewhere cool, like historical. Maybe not a castle. Maybe like an old bar might be fun,
I could see that for you.
right? But like, I want my thing as a ghost to be like,
You possess people to do an Irish jig.
I don't know. See, now I'm trying to think about what I find funny, which I should know that.
What do I find funny?
I just know that I laugh a lot. I find lots of things funny, but like what specifically I find, like what do you think
What's
find
a
funny?
bit that would never get old is the question.
That's what I
think.
mean. Like what would be a bit that would literally work forever?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think that would be really hard. That's why I'm like, maybe you could possess people to do an Irish jig every time I take a shot of like Fireball or something.
Maybe. I figured it out. So specifically, if I'm a ghost and I'm haunting an old bar in Europe somewhere, I want my bit to be that every time somebody drinks like an old-timey type drink, like brandy or something, that they have to speak like a bar story like an old sailor, and they can't be stopped.
I love that. That is a good bit. That is one that would never get old because it would affect different people at different times.
Yeah, and so, like, imagine, like, you and I rocking up to a bar and being like, oh my god, I'm so happy to be at this old bar. And then, like, one of us is like, I feel like an old-fashioned. No, I'm just gonna, like, go straight old-fashioned. I want a brandy. And then, just, like, I look at you and I'm like, 7 years ago. And you're like,
I fucked a man. And
I'll tell you, Lassie, is ding-a-lang. It was
no
small.
good.
No good. Smooth. I do feel like that'd be a good bit. That would be very fun for me as a ghost. I want that to be my legacy. I've decided.
I love that for you. Honestly, I think that's right.
I love that. I love it.
That feels
I love
right.
it for us.
Yeah.
Let's spin for our next question. If you could be like a certain color in the afterlife, what would you want? Like this can be like your outfit color or like the color of what your ghost looks like. Because you know how sometimes between like media and like ghost hunting stuff, there's like the idea that like ghosts look like greenish or whatever. But I feel like if like you're watching like Scooby-Doo or whatever, there's like pink ones, there's like other random ones. Is there like a specific color you'd want to be or like emulate in the afterlife?
I would want to be the classic all white, all like one color, clear see-through.
Nice, I love that. Like a Tower of Terror type ghost.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's good.
That's the vibe. What about you?
I want to be one of those ghosts where people look at them and they think they're a real person for a minute. But I want my clothing to be very like I want to be sneaky. I want to be a little bit tricky. I want to be a ghost that people don't think is a ghost, but I want my outfit to be like worn and old-timey, I think, and maybe like orange or yellow or something. I don't know. Like not your traditional like ghostly green or ghostly white, like something else. I don't know. Could be fun.
A little off kilter.
Right? I just want to trick people. That's really what I want to do.
You want to trick people and make them talk like a sailor.
Yep. That's my job. That's my one thing I want to do.
I love that for you.
Me too. All right. Let's spin for our last question, I believe, right? Yeah, last question.
Yes.
That was bad.
What?
Sorry, I got distracted. There's a wasp bumping against the window, and now I think I might need to close my door. The question is, where in the world would you want to haunt? Would you want to haunt Canada? Or or is there like a specific place you've been to or that you think would be like a really cool place to haunt?
See, I just feel like a Scottish castle is just classic, you know?
I would agree. I know. I feel like ghosts specifically have always been very European to me, very old world. I would agree. I would want if I said, if I had to pick a place, it would have to be somewhere interesting and old. That has to be Europe.
Yeah, like that feels right to me.
All right. So, with my questions that I have asked you, are you able to guess what my story here for you is today?
I think we're talking about a ghost.
We are talking about a ghost. A very specific kind of ghost, though.
A polterghost?
Not a polterghost. We've talked about polterghost before. Here's my description for you. And then you can tell me if you've ever heard of this before, okay?
All right.
So, the Red Lady of Huntingdon College is a ghost said to haunt the former Pratt Hall dormitory at Huntingdon College in Montgomery, Alabama. Her story is told in Huntingdon alumnus Catherine Tucker Wyndham's book 13 Alabama Ghosts and Jeffrey, which is just kind of like the most popularly known place to find information on this, but there's lots of sources about this specific red ghost. But in case any of our listeners are into reading, that'd be your primary source that you want to look at. But have you ever heard of the Red Lady of Huntingdon College, or have you heard of red ladies in general?
I have not.
So the Red Lady ghost trope is actually a very common, ghost type that shows up in stories of ghosts all over the world. So there's ladies in white, there's the Red Lady, and then there's like a couple other ghosts that are very similar to that. Red ladies generally, now, because I did my notes for this episode a while ago, I don't quite remember if this relates to her story or not, but specifically the Red Lady typing is very like woman looking for revenge usually type thing. Like the white ladies are normally like either passed away on her wedding night or is haunting people but she's sad, like these types of things. The ladies in red usually have a little bit of extra to them.
I love that for them too. You know, we love a girl who's out for vengeance.
And the reason why I want to talk about specifically the Red Lady of Huntingdon College is that she's known, again, this is kind of up for debate depending on who you talk to and from where in the world, but she's one of the first ones talked about online, so she's known, quote unquote, as the first Red Lady.
That's intriguing.
Right? All right. So I will get into my story here.
Yes, take it away.
According to Wyndham and historian Daniel Barefoot, there have actually been two ghosts alleged to have haunted the Huntingdon College. They first appeared in the late 19th century while the college was still located in the town of Tuskegee, Alabama. She was described as a young woman wearing a scarlet dress and carrying a scarlet parasol who walked wordlessly up and down the halls of the women's dormitory late one night bathed in a red glow. This apparition, according to Wyndham, ultimately left the residence hall and disappeared from view as she passed through a gateway outside. The alleged identity or origin of this wraith has never been determined, and she was apparently never seen again. But then, there's the second Red Lady. So, the second Red Lady, according to Wyndham, was a former student named Martha, or Margaret, which is very source dependent, and she had reluctantly come to Huntingdon from New York because her father's mother had attended Huntingdon when it was in Tuskegee. I'm pretty sure that's how you say that. I'm probably wrong. And his will specified that she must attend his mother's alma mater. Martha did not especially want to come to Alabama, but her father's fortune was large and she knew his deep love for his home state, and Martha, according to legend, dressed in red when she arrived and brought with her red draperies for her windows and a red spread for her bed together with other accessories of the same color. Although many of her fellow students asked her for her apparent obsession with the color red, Martha always demurred. So I think she just kind of really liked red. Could be wrong, but who's to say?
Yeah. I mean, God forbid a girl likes to wear red.
God forbid a girl just likes the color red. Exactly. So, being a stranger and shy, as well as unhappy in her unfamiliar surroundings, Martha could not make friends among students. They sensed that she was different from them, and having heard that she was wealthy, they mistook her shyness for disdain. So Martha sat alone and apart from them in the dining hall, and seldom spoke to even her roommate. When other girls, Huntingdon was an all-female institution at this specific time, dropped in to visit, she seemed so cold and unfriendly that they all eventually just stopped coming. Truthfully, many of them had only come out of curiosity to see the red prayer rug Martha had brought from Turkey and odd little red figurines that she liked to keep on her bookshelves. Martha's roommate, according to Wyndham's story, ultimately found the situation unbearable and asked the house mother if she could move out. The house mother granted this request and put someone else in the room with Martha, who became increasingly aloof and irritable. The second girl also left her after only a week. This procedure happened again and again as one roommate after another found it impossible to live with the girl. At last, the president of the dormitory, who was known for her ability to get along with everybody, moved in with Martha and did everything she could to make friends with her, but all efforts were futile. Martha had become embittered as well as withdrawn, and she seemed to resent the presence of even this specific kind-hearted girl who's going out of her way. After all of her efforts at friendship had failed, she found herself growing depressed and despondent, and the dormitory president packed up her own belongings and prepared to leave. Just as she was about to go, Martha, who had not known of her imminent departure, returned to the room. With a look of defiance, she said, "So you couldn't stand me either, like all the rest of your stuck-up friends. I was beginning to think you really want me to be your friend, but you hate me just like everyone else. Well, I'm glad to be rid of you. Take your things and go. But I'll tell you one thing, my dear. For the rest of your life, you'll regret leaving this room." And the house president was disturbed by this bitter outburst, but in the midst of her many activities, soon forgot about Martha's, in hindsight, prophetic words.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So, the sad girl, abandoned by the one person that she had believed to be her only friend, allegedly formed the habit of wandering into rooms where other girls were congregating, but her presence cast a chill upon the groups and would soon find flimsy excuses for leaving her alone. Then, with a feeling of alienation from all humankind, she would return to her solitary sleeping quarters where she would wrap herself up in a red bedspread and retreat from the world. Later, Martha's behavior allegedly became even more strange. She would wait until the lights were out, and then she would visit one dormitory after another, never saying a word but staring into space as if she was in a trance. As time passed, she took to walking up and down the halls during the darkest hours of the night. Often she would alarm the girls by opening and closing their doors, then hurry away to resume her pitiful promenade. So to me, at least at this point, this just sounds like a girl who is lonely, does come from money, but obviously is there for a reason, and she just likes the color red and is having a hard time making friends, and is probably acting a little weird out of loneliness, right?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me as well.
So, then, one evening, after Martha had not appeared for classes or meals all day, her former roommate, the dormitory president, had a guilty feeling and decided to go to see her, thinking that this time she might be able to help Martha in some kind of way. As she neared Martha's room, at an isolated corridor at the top floor of the building, she is said to have noticed flashes of the color red shooting out of the corridor from the room's transom, which is just kind of the area, I guess, almost like a vestibule, but not really. Then, opening the door, she screamed and then fainted. Girls from all over the fourth floor of Pratt rushed from their rooms to see what was wrong. Martha, or as the story goes, was found on the floor of her room, dressed in her red robe, and draped in her red bedspread, having committed suicide by slashing her wrists. So, this happened a quote-unquote a long time ago, according to Wyndham, but students at Huntingdon have alleged that on the date of Martha's suicide every year, rays of crimson light will flash down from the transom of her room, and the Red Lady returns to haunt the corridors of Pratt Hall. Students have allegedly reported seeing Martha's ghost on Pratt Hall's fourth floor, claiming to have seen it pass through walls or closed doors.
Suspicious.
Now, today, Pratt Hall has been converted from a dormitory to the college's Department of Education and Psychology, and in October every year, the Chi Omega Phi Mu or Phi Mu, I was never in a fraternity or a sorority, guys, so sorry, and
the Femus.
Yeah, the Phi.
They're out again.
The Femus are out. And Alpha Omicron Pi sororities at Huntingdon take part in something called the Red Lady Run, where they paint their faces wearing all black and then run around the campus. So, now, there are other alleged ghosts of this college, because of course there always has to be, right? So, other than the Red Lady, Huntingdon College also allegedly is haunted by the restless spirit of a young male student who supposedly shot himself on the college green sometime during the 1970s. After being jilted by a former girlfriend, students have allegedly reported feeling unseen forces tugging on their clothes as they walk across the green at night, messing with their hair, or blowing in their ears. Other spirits alleged to haunt portions of the Huntingdon campus, including those of a murdered co-ed, a young boy who allegedly drowned in the college pond, a female student clad only in a towel, and a poltergeist known as Frank the Library Ghost.
That's fun.
And I did try to see what I could find about Frank the Library Ghost. He just kind of is like tricksy, I guess. Like, you know how in Harry Potter, did you ever read the Harry Potter series, by the way, or did you just watch the movies?
No, I just watched the
movies. So if you ever read the books, or any of your listeners ever read the Harry Potter books, there's a character, like a recurring character called Peeves the Poltergeist, and you literally never know his story. He's just like a guy that shows up and just like fucks with people all the time, and that's basically the gist of Frank the Library Ghost. That's kind of his bit too.
I love that for him.
Yeah, he's an icon. He knows it. But yeah, so that is basically my story for you here today. It's very short, but I just thought it was interesting, the story surrounding the Red Lady, and also there's just something so fun for me about a haunted college, because I feel like that, especially with older places, that's always something that comes up, but then it's a lot of hearsay, because obviously, you know, students, younger people going to school, that happens. But in the other end of it too, though, especially with, say, older universities, I feel like there's some things that are very consistent that kind of carry on through the years, or have like it's got a certain, you know, je ne sais quoi, as Jonathan would say.
I would agree. Do you think you could do something similar as a ghost?
I don't know if I could be that iconic as a ghost. But I guess this kind of brings me to another question that I didn't even think to include in this episode, but I'll ask you now since, like I said, we're doing quite a bit shorter today. Normally we are around an hour for episodes. This is closer to a half hour. Do you, like, if you could go back in time and we were kids picking which schools we wanted to go to for university, would knowing the university that you were going to or college that you were wanting to go to was haunted, would that be a selling point for you, or would that be like, no, I don't want to go there, like it's supposedly haunted or whatever?
That's tough, because I was a little scaredy cat as a child. Now I think I would be like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to the ghost university. Mm-hmm. Then I don't know if I would have. Right. I don't know. I think you would have. I think that would have helped you get all the way through college.
Probably just knowing that there was a ghost hanging around there. But here's my thing. I'm also scaredy cat, just in a different kind of way. But ghosts specifically, I feel like there's a story there. Like, I love the story behind why a ghost is there or something. Because they're always really neat.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, I don't know. I feel like you don't hear about a ghost just, like, for the fun of it. Like, there's usually a reason why why their soul or their spirit, whatever you believe, has stuck around.
Yeah, and then there's also, too, like, it seems like a lot of the times anyways with ghost stories that I've either covered in this episode or other podcasts have covered that I've listened to before, it's even interesting knowing that, like, in a lot of these stories, ghosts sometimes interact with people differently, too, depending on if they're a man or a woman, or if there's something else going on, if they look a certain way, if they act a certain way. Like, even stuff like that I always think is really neat, too, because then I'm like, okay, well, this is your story, and then you bully men in real life. Like, girl, what's your gig? Like, what happened?
I 100% support you, but I just want to know
I have questions.
What happened.
I need to know more.
So, are red ladies really common? Like, would you say that they're, like, the most common type of ghost? Or, like, what is the most common type?
At least from what I've seen, I feel like red ladies and white ladies are pretty much synonymous. Like, they show up about as often. But as far as, like, how common as, like, a ghost type they are, usually if you're covering a haunted place, they will have either, or sometimes both, a white lady or a red lady. But they will always have ghosts of some kind that are just, like, the ghost that does this. Like, it won't be a type of ghost, it'll be a ghost that does certain things. Or, I was going to say poltergeist, but honestly, poltergeist stories are kind of their own thing, and they're different. They're not usually, like, if you're going to a haunted place that is known to have ghosts...
They're not like Frank?
They're not like Frank, usually, yeah. Where it's like, if you're going to a haunted place that has ghosts, there's usually going to be types of ghosts, there's going to be ghost stories, there's going to be ghosts that do things, but if there's going to be a ghost there that acts like a poltergeist... That's not normally a thing. Poltergeists normally are ghosts that have, like, certain things that they're doing, and they feed off the energy of people, and they're usually with living people. That's kind of like the bigger thing. So then it's kind of like, but that's kind of what, to me, makes university so interesting, is that that's a place where people are living, but then not living. they're places with history, but also you're having people of today still interacting there and things are still happening. So that's why it's kind of like neat, right? It's almost like there's so much different stuff going on all the time. It's kind of hard to be like...
the melding of old and new consistently.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I love that. And honestly, Frank is an icon.
Yep, love him.
We need more Franks in the world.
We need more Franks, that's true. And if you like today's episode, make sure to leave us a review on wherever you listen to our podcast. As always, 5 stars is appreciated. You can check us out on our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com. You can email us, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com. You can check out our Patreon, which is Wheel of Crime at Patreon. You can check us out on our social media, which is Wheel of Crime on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok. And lastly, say you listen to today's episode and you're like, I've been to that university and I have a ghost story. Or, I know more about Frank, that old poltergeist. He's got things to do in the library.
Yes.
Or he's a ghost and he likes to do things in the library. You can write into the show and tell us all about it. We would love to hear it. And you may potentially get a spot on our listener stories episode coming up here soon. I know Jen and I are planning on doing one here shortly by the end of the summer, so more to come. But once you have an idea of what you want to write in and see what happens. Could be fun.
Yes, that's it. That's all. And we'll see you next week for another new episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.